No matter who you are, you will have haters. John 15 verse 18 says, if the world hates you, know that it hated Jesus first. So if you have haters, know that God is greater than your haters. Lately you've been feeling the weight of your haters coming at you with their envy and their hate, scheming against you, throwing mud on your name. But God's gonna work it out despite their lies and game. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer.
3 reasons why you might be a low-effort friend to a particular individual that most people who are not self-aware often overlook. That's what we're talking about. But before we get into today's topic, I want to tell you about the inspiring message on my coffee mug that I'm drinking my hazelnut coffee out of. So I'm drinking from the Mental Health Affirmations mug. And this is a mug that has beautiful affirmations that uplift us and remind us to take care of our mental health. And so I reached for this mug this morning as a reminder to just keep myself in a good headspace with everything going on in our world today. If you have any of my mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, any of the inspirational merch, or if you have any of my books, which one do you have and how has it benefited you? Let me know in the comments section. So let's get into our topic. We're talking about 3 reasons why you might be a low-effort friend to a particular individual that most people who are not self-aware often overlook. And what they will do is make you the bad guy. You may have even had a situation where somebody who you've known for a long time, could be somebody you went to high school, college with, could be a family member, and they're like, I'm always calling you and you're never available. Nobody's that busy and you never have time for me. They may always reach out to you and you rarely reach back. And they may have even talked behind you about your back to other people, saying, you know, so-and-so is not a real friend. They're not a good friend. They're a terrible friend because I'm always the one reaching out. They never reach back. I'm always the one making plans and they never make plans. And they might be painting you in a bad light, right? And here's the other piece of it. So I want to be very clear about who this video was targeting so that the conversation does not get off track. So we're not talking about a situation where you have been a good friend to someone, loyal, kind, considerate, caring, the tenets of friendship, compassionate, and someone's taking advantage of you and taking your kindness for weakness. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about are 3 reasons that a lot of people overlook when you begin to pull away from a particular friend and you find that they're making the effort and you're not really putting the effort in, because the truth is you are not interested in maintaining the friendship anymore, whether you've had the conversation or you're displaying it by way of your actions. And there are 3 reasons that a lot of people who are not self-aware often overlook because they want to get in front of the narrative or they are highly manipulative. So we're talking about in these instances so that we're clear about who we're talking about in this video, what type of personality type. So number 1, sometimes you may find that you are a low effort friend, meaning that you are not returning the calls. You are not really investing in the friendship at the level that they're investing. Is because number 1, there's something about the way that person moves that raises a red flag for you and gives you a reason to pause. So if you are a highly discerning and observant person, you are going to notice things about people, right? And you may not speak on everything that you notice because everything that you notice doesn't merit a conversation. It's information for you so that you know how to show up, how to move, how to deal with different personality types. But we don't need to go through life having unnecessary conflict, confrontations, and arguments that are just a waste of time. So let's say, for example, that you have somebody who reached out to you at the job and they're trying to be your friend, and they sent you a friend request several times on social media, and you won't accept the friend request. And then when they see you, they're like, I sent you a friend request so many times, and I don't know why you won't accept the friend request. And let's say that they've invited you to different places. But when you look on their page, you see that they're very messy, right? They're constantly taking shots at people on social media. They are doing things that just don't align with how you want to live your life. Now, you don't need to argue with them because it's no emotional investment, meaning if you don't plan on being friends with the person anyway, that doesn't mean we don't be kind and compassionate, but it means that you're clear that this is not the right fit for your inner circle. Amos 3:3 is very clear about who we walk with. Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So if you have agreed to walk your life in the direction of no drama, in the direction of peace and calm, in the direction of integrity, in the direction of not being in constant conflict and strife and discord with people, and you see that an individual who wants to pursue a friendship with you moves in a way that is in direct contrast to how you want to live your life, they're not going to be the right fit for your friendship circle. Now, this doesn't mean that you should not be courteous, that you should not be kind and compassionate. Absolutely. But everybody who you're courteous, kind, and compassionate, you don't necessarily invite into your home, exchange telephone numbers, and you hanging, joining at the hip with one another. So a lot of times what will happen is there's something about a way a person moves that gives you a reason to pause, that raises a red flag for you. And you might find that you're like, you know what? This is not going to be the right friendship fit for me. But because that person is unhealed or not self-aware, they will look at your observant and discerning behavior through the lens of offense. And they will be offended at the fact that they have made an effort to be your friend, not realizing that they are not the right friendship fit for you. And then again, we don't want to be unnecessarily hurtful. So this is why we don't always have to say everything that comes to our head, just because God has given us something to observe so that we know how to move, right? There are times that the Holy Spirit will give us information about a situation, information about a person, and it's not always meant to be talked about and shared, but it is meant to be kept in the back of our mind so that we know how to deal with that particular individual. We know that the spirit that they're moving in, even if they are not self-aware. And this is really not your job to make other people self-aware. They have to come to their own emotional development, right? So this is a big one because I, over the course of my life, have met a lot of people who have, reached out to be friends. And when I observe certain things or discern certain things, I know off the bat the person is not going to be the right friendship fit for me. So this can be someone who is extremely clingy. And you know that you have a very full schedule. You have priorities that are your primary priorities. And you may not have the time, nor do you want to make the time to be on the phone with somebody every day for 2 hours. The person who needs that from you may not be the right friendship fit for you. This doesn't make them a bad person. They can be a wonderful person. It just doesn't fit for you, for your lifestyle, for where you want to take your friend. For where you want to take your life. But if they get easily offended, coupled with not being self-aware, regardless of what comes out of their mouth, because we know people by their fruit, right? By their patterns, by their conduct, by their actions, by their choices, not what they say. So they can talk about the word of God all day, every day, but how are they behaving? So there might be something about the way they move that gives you a reason to pause, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't want no problems. My life is basically stress-free. I got problems like everybody else every now and then, but for the most part, I don't have any uninvited drama in my life, and I don't want to start now. And this person is walking drama. So that's number one. Number two, a second reason why you may be a low-effort friend to someone who is putting in a lot of effort to pursue or maintain a friendship with you is that you are pursuing a goal and that person has shown you signs of envy. And so because they have shown you signs of envy, relative to the goal that you are pursuing, you have taken a step back so that you can focus on your goal and not be hindered or harmed by their envy. This is another big one. And so a person who is not willing to admit that they are envious of the fact that you are growing, that you are pursuing a new goal, that you are changing for the better, if they're not willing to admit that this bothers and upsets them, they don't have to admit this to you, but if they won't even admit it to God, meaning put it on the altar so that they can heal from that, right? They can free themselves of that. They can get deliverance from that, right? Then the friendship is going to have a lot of unnecessary tension, and it is going to be hard to pursue your best success, to pursue the things that God has for you, to pursue the things that you are called and anointed to do, if you have to constantly dodge bullets of toxic criticism, if you have to dodge bullets of demeaning comments, of things to just kind of humiliate you and knock you down a notch. That is taking energy that you can be expending in the direction of building your goals, your dreams, growing as a person, and living a life that feels fulfilling, that has joy, that has peace of mind. And so what you may find is when they're calling you to drain you about gossiping about this person, when they're calling you to tell you all the reasons why you're not going to be successful in a particular goal that you're pursuing, even if they do it low key on the low, they're not overt with it, but they're being passive aggressive and subtle in terms of trying to bring your mood down so that you don't have confidence. Why would you want that in your life? But if that individual is not self-aware, because a lot of times what happens with envy is envy and shame go hand in hand. So because there's so much shame around the feeling of envy, because to admit to be envious is to admit to covet what somebody else has. To admit to be envious is to admit that you are insecure in a particular area. And the reality of being a human being is that any of us at any time can feel envy, can have a thought of envy, myself included, any human being. But the difference with the believer who is trying to actively grow in the things of God is when you notice that in yourself, when you notice the flesh rising up, when you notice the thoughts of envy and the emotion of envy, you are going to put that on the altar, right? You're going to be transparent with God. God, I don't want to be a hater. God, I don't want to be envious of my friend because of ... I don't want to be envious of my cousin because of ... Please show me the gifts in me. I mean, whatever prayer you would say, however you would talk to God. But the bottom and top line is you are not going to want to harbor that. You are going to want to release those toxic emotions so that you have the emotional and the mental space and clarity to be your creative best, to be fruitful. So that's the difference. But if a person is not willing to do that and they're not even self-aware to admit to themselves, we're not even talking about admitting to you, admitting to themselves that they're in a place of envy and them getting delivered from that, how are you going to build a friendship based on care, support, loyalty, compassion? Because where there is envy, according to the Bible, where there is envy and self-seeking, there is confusion and every evil work. So it is a matter of time before you are going to start to see the evil in that individual if they don't give that envy to God. And so that may be one of the reasons why you're pulling back from a friendship and that friend seems to always want to be around you, always want to have you on the phone, always on your social media. And you are pulling back more and more because you sense the spirit that they are operating in and you want no parts of it. And you may be at a place where you know this particular individual, maybe they're hot-headed. Maybe this is an individual who gets real nasty and offended, and you simply don't want to invest your emotional energy in a back and forth conversation with someone who will not be accountable of something that has no merit in your life, when you can simply choose to come out from among that person and keep it moving. 3, here's the third reason, and they're all interconnected, why you might find that you are a low effort friend, and this person may be going around painting the narrative that you are the worst person in the world, and they're such a good friend because they constantly call you, they constantly reach out to you, they constantly are trying to spend time with you, and you have been pulling back more and more and more. Don't be gaslit. Don't be gaslit. Don't allow them to guilt trip you, and don't allow someone to game you when you clearly know your reasons for pulling back from someone that you have discerned, determined, and detected is not the right friendship fit for you. And they might have been the right friendship fit last year, but maybe you're in a new mindset, a new headspace this year. Maybe you have healed some areas of your life. You have leveled up some areas, and it's just not a fit for you. So the third reason is they have proven themselves to be untrustworthy, and you are simply not interested in building a friendship with someone who has proven that you cannot trust them. So this could be a situation where you've seen them talk about other people, and I mean dog them out. But when they get around that person, oh, this is my best friend. Oh, he's like a brother to me. And you're like, I just heard you dog them out. And so you kept that, even if you don't say it, you keep it in the back of your mind. And so when they are trying to have intimate moments with you, and by intimate, I'm talking about heartfelt moments, and they are trying to really find out like where your vulnerabilities are, you're going to be leery because you just saw them dog out somebody who they said was like a brother or sister to them. And you're like, I don't want to be in that position. So you may find that you are closed-mouthed around them, even though they are chatty Cathy, because you've witnessed them dog other people out. Or maybe you have told them something that you didn't tell anyone else but them. So you know it could not have been anyone else but them. And it has come back to you by more than one person. You're like, we'll give the person a name. I only told Susan, yet Sam, Jim, Barbara, and Vanessa know the situation. How could this be possible? And I only told one person. And so because of that encounter, and you may never confront them, right? Let's say you never confront them, that I heard you, that the thing I told you in confidence, that you told 3 other people, or maybe you told your friend and they told their friend. You know how it starts. And, this one tells that one. So maybe you never even choose to confront them, but just the fact that it got back to you is enough for you to look and say, I see how you move. I can't trust you. And I don't need to have a conversation with you about why I can't trust you, because I'm not invested at that level to have that conversation with you. Now, when you become clear, people will accuse you of being cold, because when you are extremely clear and focused, you don't have time for foolishness and nonsense. And things you may have entertained last year, you may not entertain this year in this new season of your life. And so you may be of the mindset, this is not my minor child who I'm raising, and because I'm raising you, I am charged with guiding you. I am charged with directing you. I am charged with, when you are in error, for me to give you guidance. But because I already see that this individual, who is not my minor child that I'm raising, moves like a snake, it is my responsibility, once I know I'm dealing with a snake, to choose not to be bitten by a snake again. And the way not to be bitten by a snake is not to be in the vicinity where the snake is. And so I choose to distance myself. And it doesn't mean we have to be nasty. This is the thing. The older you get, everything don't merit, I'm going to tell her about herself, and I'm going to let her have it. And you don't need to do all of that. When you're focused on your goals and your dreams, your mindset shifts, because the energy that you would have put into telling them about themselves and letting them know that you don't like this, and that about them is the same energy that you can use to level up your life, grow in the things of God, and keep moving forward. When we feel that we really have to let somebody have it, it is because we are still hurt and unhealed. People don't like to hear this. But when we have the clarity to be able to say that it is what it is, they've shown me their fruit. So if they're showing me that they are a thorn, right? The Bible says we shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? And so once you have determined you're dealing with a thorn bush, are you going to argue with a thorn bush and say, why can't you be more like a grape? That's nuts. It is a thorn bush. And the only thing a thorn bush can do is prick you because it's a thorn bush. So when somebody pricks at your trust by betraying you, when somebody pricks at your sense of safety and security by being unkind and mean to you, when somebody pricks at your sense of boundaries by being overly clingy and constantly trying to break your boundaries, that is problematic. You're not a grape. You're dealing with a thorn bush. And so I say this to say, don't allow people, even if they are throwing mud on your name, because that's going to happen the clearer you get and the more focus you get, because your circle's going to get smaller. But a lot of times as your circle decreases, your blessings increase. As your circle decreases, particularly your circle of toxic people, when your circle of toxic people decreases, your blessings increase. And so do know that they will throw mud on your name. They are going to talk about you. So what? So what? I've never seen a death certificate that said cause of death, they were spreading rumors about me. Cause of death, they lied on my name. Cause of death, they were speaking badly about me. You will live. So keep moving forward, level up, do what you got to do, and do know that some people are just not that self-aware, and others are self-aware, but they're highly manipulative. But you get to decide whether an individual who does not walk where you're trying to walk, right? Can two walk together except they be agreed? You get to decide whether someone who is not walking their life in the direction that you want to go, and who's trying to walk your life in the direction of discord, drama, confusion, or a hidden agenda. That's the fourth one. So I said 3 reasons, but the fourth reason that you may be a low effort friend to someone who is going out of their way to be your friend is that you sense that it's not genuine, that the only reason they want to get to know you is that there is a benefit attached to you. So a lot of times when you are in a position of leadership, this could be at your job, maybe you're a supervisor, it can be anywhere. You can be leading the PTA meeting. You could be leading the neighborhood watch. Or you have access to a particular resource, whatever that resource may be. Or you may be the type of person who is just a kind person who will go out of your way if you're able to help someone. You may find, right, that there's an individual that is going all out to be your friend, and something is raising a red flag for you. And that something is usually you are sensing that the person is not genuine, and that the only reason they're blowing up your phone, the only reason that they are doing whatever it is that they're doing to be able to tell people that they're going out of their way to build a relationship with you is because they want to benefit from you. And because you can see through them like a clear glass of water, you see right through them, you decide to guard your heart around them. You decide to maintain a pleasant distance, meaning you're cordial, you're pleasant. You may even be friendly, but you are friendly enough. But you are clear that this is not someone who you are going to exchange numbers with, who you are not going to build a friendship with. But in their eyes, they may see and tell people that you are a low effort friend. Well, I'm always calling them, but what they're not saying is they're calling you with a hidden agenda. They're calling you because you can serve as a resource for them, and it's one-sided, rather than just being upfront and saying, hey, let's barter. I have the peanut butter, you have the jelly. and let's barter. And then you get to decide, if you choose so, if you want to barter. But rather than being upfront about what their end goal and their end game is, they are coming under the guise of wanting to be your friend, when in reality they want to use you for your resources. They want to use you and you can insert the blanks. And if you discern that, right, you are going to be low effort, because you're not going to put the effort back in, because you see them like you see a clear glass of water. Proverbs 29:5 puts it real clear when someone's coming at you with excessive flattery. And it says, a man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. So the Bible uses the word man. This means mankind. So a person who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. Now think about the analogy here. A net is a trap, right? If somebody has a net for your feet, when you're fishing, you fish with a net to catch fish, right? When you are putting a net for somebody's feet, you are trying to trip the way they walk. So when somebody is using flattery, and flattery is not the same thing as a sincere compliment. Flattery is insincere praise coming from a place of a hidden agenda. So it's deceptive. It's not the same as a sincere compliment. Somebody sincerely says, I really appreciate this about you, or I really like this about you, and there's no hidden agenda on the back end. But flattery is insincere praise with a hidden agenda attached. So when you begin to see this in an individual, and the more discerning that you become, the more that you grow in your discernment, you will begin to see through people. But you may not speak on everything you see, because that creates unnecessary arguments. But you will see it clearly, and you may say, okay, I see where this is going. Like, I'm not even interested in pursuing a friendship with this person because they're just trying to use me. But when they tell the story, they're not going to tell people they're trying to use you. Why would they say that? That paints them in a bad light. They're going to say, well, I always call and I always reach and I always do this, and that for them. And mind you, you didn't ask them to do none of that. I always do all of these things, and they never return the favor. But see, this is the whole point. This is the whole point. What they did for you was not from a place of generosity. It was from a place of wanting something in return, but they weren't upfront about it. That's what makes it a hidden agenda. You don't owe anybody with a hidden agenda. You don't owe them your time and your resources. So keep that in the back of your mind, and don't let people get you down when they put you on blast for being a low effort friend. When they make a TikTok or an Instagram about you being a low effort friend, when they get on the phone and tell all the other family members that you are a low effort friend. And they might not use that word, but that's the gist of it. But what they are not telling people are the 4 reasons we just went over. They're not telling people that there's something about the way that they move that gave you a reason to pause, that raised the red flag for you. They're not telling people, number 2, that you are leveling up your life and pursuing a goal, and they starting to show signs of envy, and you don't want to be around somebody who has hostility towards you. 3, what they're not telling people is that they've proven themselves to be untrustworthy, because you saw how they threw somebody else under the bus. You saw how they talked about somebody like a dog while smiling in their face, or you told them something very private and personal and it got back to you. They're not telling nobody that. And number 4, they're not telling somebody that they're reaching out to you because they want your resources, because they have a hidden agenda for you, but they're trying to play it off like it's sincere. And you see through them and you're like, honey, mama didn't raise no fool. Like, you ain't dealing with boo the fool. And I'm not investing enough in you to have a conversation with you about your untrustworthiness. That's a conversation between you and God. I got to keep on moving. So keep your head up, keep moving forward. And if you have not yet got the book, Rise Above the Haters, get the book, Rise Above the Haters, because that is going to help you level up your hater-proof skills. It's available on Amazon, and we are kicking off our 12-week challenge, the 12-week summer challenge. It's the Rise Above the Haters challenge, and I'll leave the link in the video description box that gives you more information about this challenge. We kick it off on June 1st, and it's going to be for 12 weeks, the challenge. And there is a free PDF tip sheet that you can download from the website that gives you something to do each week for this challenge to rise above the haters. And it is meant to be used with the journal Rise Above the Haters. And if you are a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel, you will have access to the videos that we will be doing for the Rise Above the Haters. We'll be doing some journaling videos if you are a member at the wellness tier. And I'll have more information for that. That'll be kicking off this summer as well. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves and each other, and continue moving forward in purpose and destiny. Talk to you soon.